team that the season's over, and that's a bad message. And we have to work through this. And when times get tough, sometimes that might be the easy thing to do. And this sport's bigger than one guy, and we all have a hand in it, and we all have to fix it.
An interesting thing to say, as though benching the quarterback, in this case he's saying, would mean basically writing off the season. Dan Orlovsky, what do you think?
You're not benching Carson Wentz. Let's stop being ridiculous. If anything needs to get benched, there needs to be a change of play calling in Philadelphia, or a different scheme that comes to. They need to bench their offensive scheme right now because it stinks. And that's affecting the football team. Listen, everybody goes, Dan, don't make excuses for Carson Wentz. I'm not making excuses. I'm giving you reasons why the play is poor by everybody. First of all, they go right down the field in their opening drive. Right down the field. It's like 10 runs or something like that. Miles Sanders fumbles. Terrible weather. Great. The next drive, it's all passes. Why? Why are you not just running the football? You own the line of scrimmage. That 2nd and 7 interception, first of all, the play should be a run. Second of all, let's say that Carson Wentz has that missed read. It's a check down in space. If the tight end blocks the guy, it's a check down in space. This interception to Alshon Jeffrey, or to Ward, that's on Alshon Jeffrey. Was a drop on 3rd down. So listen, everyone could point to Carson Wentz and go, oh my gosh. Okay, so you're going to tell me that 3 years ago, when the guy was surrounded by really good play calling, Frank Reich, and good talent on offense, he was a runaway MVP. 2 years ago, he has a good season coming back from an ACL injury. Last year, he has a historically great season. And this year, he can't play? Guy can't play anymore. He just has fallen off the face of the earth with his ability to play quarterback. That's not the situation. Right now, the Eagles' scheme offensively stinks. And their quarterback's not playing well, no, but it stinks. It's not time to bench Carson Wentz. It's time to bench the play calling.
RC, what do you think?
Man, I started looking at my phone for stats because I'm trying to figure out what the hell Dan talking about. So what are we going to pick? Is it Doug Peterson was good enough to play call with backups and pulling guys off the practice squad last year? Or was it just Carson Wentz? Because we have to be able to acknowledge when he's not playing well. Obviously, he could have hit Rager before he went to the check down. The check down was pressured. He threw a pick 6. If you look at the ball he throws to Alshon Jeffrey, maybe he shouldn't trust him. Maybe that Alshon Jeffrey isn't in a place where he can make that play right now. But he did. He overthrows the ball. Denzel Ward goes up and gets it late, right before the 2-minute warning in the 4th quarter. And there's example of Carson Wentz making bad decisions, which you talked about when he said he's come on at the post-game press conferences and says, you know what? I made bad decisions. I got to play smarter. There's also just been bad throws where he's missed open people or where he hasn't made the athletic wild play. Carson Wentz is having a terrible year. I don't think you should bench him, but I also think you can't blame everything on the play caller. It can't be when all is good for you, we're going to talk about your talent. And when it's bad for you, your talent just can't overcome bad coaching. Nah, sometimes you got to call it what it is. Carson Wentz has to be better.
I agree, RC. I have been blatantly honest and brutally honest about the fact that he's not playing well this year. But if I have, you know this, if I'm going to go, okay, are the offensive struggles and are the quarterback struggles directly tied to the quarterback's performance, or are there other reasons, maybe the scheme and the play calling and the rhythm of the offense? If I have to choose one, then it's the scheme and the play calling. Because I can, RC, they ran a flat route yesterday on slant flat combination with the flat guy inserting into the line of scrimmage. That keeps the linebacker right in the throwing window. You gave a seam release out route to Alshon Jeffrey. The play calling is not good. The play design stinks. The quarterback needs to play better. I completely agree. But if are we going to bench one or move on from one, the play calling has to get better for that offense to play.
Let me quickly get Rex in here.
Better.
Very quickly, Rex. Would you, if you're the coach in that situation and you're watching what you're watching, would you be thinking of benching the quarterback?
No, because you see who's behind him?
Okay.
Jalen Hurts. There's no way. And so, to me, you can't bench them. I think their biggest problem, they have no one to throw to either. Carson Wentz is 27th in the league.
Came home still unbeaten, 10-0. It's Ben Roethlisberger's longest career win streak since he won his first 15 regular season starts back almost 20 years ago. Meanwhile, Patriots had over 360 yards from Cam Newton, but not enough to overcome the Texans. At 4-6, New England now 3 games back in the AFC East and 2 games out of the final wildcard spot. And then terrible news for the Bengals and for the entire sport. Rookie Joe Burrow taking the big hit during the game yesterday against Washington, had to be carted off the field with a leg injury. It appears he will miss the rest of the season, and I say it appears as such because he said it. Here was the tweet that everyone saw from him yesterday. Thanks for all the love. Can't get rid of me that easy. See you next year. And Rex Ryan, I know that watching that happen yesterday, you were really upset to see it, and I know you have some issues with the way the whole thing was handled.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And Greeny, you talked about it already. I mean, this isn't just a Cincinnati loss or Bengal fan loss. All of us who love the NFL and love our players, this is a huge loss for all of us. And I go right back to the way they handled them. I mean, he's had more drop-back passes than any quarterback in the league. That's how you're going to handle a rookie quarterback with a horrible offensive line and a bad football team? That's not what you do to this kid. And unfortunately, I thought, I'm like, oh gosh, he's going to get him killed. He's going to get him hurt. And that's exactly what happened. And I know as a coach, look, you're desperate as a coach. You won 2 games last year. Everybody else would have been fired after 1 year winning 2 games. You've won 2 games this year. So I know you're desperate to win. But what are you going to win? 4 games with this team? Let's not lose our quarterback, lose our franchise player. He's the face of the franchise, not you as a coach. We could care less about you as a coach. We love this football player. Let's protect him. And to me, I think it was reckless in the way they handled him. And look, it's unfortunate. I know the coach is remorseful about it now,
right,
but we saw it coming the whole season.
A lot of people did say it, to the point. It's not really the second guess. We've heard lots of people question, including Mike Tannenbaum on this show. I've heard Amy Trask said it. Heard you say it. They're putting him in harm's way. They're playing with fire. Yesterday, down he goes. We won't see him again this season. Meanwhile, Falcons-Saints yesterday was maybe the most interesting game of the day, Dan Orlovsky, because with Drew Brees sideline, they go to Taysom Hill, and here we go. 3 minutes left in the second quarter. Saints were down, but not anymore. Look at Taysom Hill.
And this ball's going to come down at some point. I just don't know exactly when. That thing was up in the air forever. It's a great adjustment by Emmanuel Sanders making that catch. Then the fumble ensues. I had absolutely no idea what was going to be the ruling on this play, but the Saints took their shot downfield. That's a great adjustment by Emmanuel Sanders to catch that punt.
Ultimately, it winds up a 44-yard completion, the longest to a Saints receiver this year. Then Alvin Kamara would take it in from 3 yards away, so the Saints would take the lead, and they would never look back. Saints leading at 10-9, 1st and 10. Here's Hill. Here's Michael Thomas had a nice day.
This is a nice job. 3-step, operate your offense underneath the center, see the flat defender go out, replace him with the slant, and then 4th and goal. This is their bread and butter with Taysom Hill, right? That quarterback lead power. He finishes for the touchdown.
17-9 the score there. Thomas, by the way, 9 catches, 104 yards. 13 minutes left in the fourth. Still 17-9. This is Hill. How about this play, Dan?
Yeah, one of the reasons why they love him is the creativity after the snap. That broken play, everyone's covered. I can use my athleticism to go make a play. And then the Greeny, their defensive line just hunted yesterday. You saw sack after sack after sack married with their coverage on the back end.
Yeah, so the storyline going in clearly was the decision to go with Taysom Hill. The storyline coming out, more than anything, as well as he played, was the Saints' defense and just how thoroughly dominant they were in this game. And so let's talk about that. Ryan Clark, if they're going to play defense like that, regardless of who the quarterback is, are the Saints the best team in the NFC?
Listen, I'm not going to say they're the best team with Taysom Hill. We need to see a little more. So I'm not going to jump off that bridge right now, but golly, they're going to be hard to beat. When you look at Taysom Hill yesterday, I think the huge thing was what type of quarterback would he be? And it was very Teddy Bridgewater-esque. You know, you go back last year, Himbo just shot it over to me. You know, Mike Thomas had 42 catches, 500 yards, 3 touchdowns. Yesterday he had 9 catches, over 103. The offense was what Drew Brees, what Teddy Bridgewater ran, not what Lamar Jackson, Colin Kaepernick, or Kyler Murray runs. And I thought that was something different for the Atlanta Falcons, but it didn't matter what you did on offense. It was like 2 teams out there playing defense for the New Orleans Saints, and they were coming with so much pain that you were watching Taysom Hill and being like, is this the dude that won the former MVP? Or that was the former MVP, or Matt Ryan? Matt Ryan couldn't get through his progressions. Wide receivers couldn't get open. They couldn't block the guys up front. This Saints defense was the reason people picked them to win the NFC South at the beginning of the season. It's the reason they were Super Bowl contenders. And when you watch what they did against Tampa Bay a few weeks ago, when you see what they did against Atlanta yesterday, this is not a team you want to play. And now having Quan Alexander, who Green Bay should have tried to get, gives them the best duo of linebackers in the NFC South, in the NFC as a whole. And this team is going to be tough down the stretch.
Rex, you were telling us that you saw something from them on the sideline that suggested to you the Saints defense is ready to go?
Oh, yeah, I knew they were feeling it. I looked over there, Demario Davis, he's sitting over there dancing. And it's like a 3 or 4 point game, and they're just on the sideline. And it reminded me of, and I'm sure Ryan's been there too, because we've been part of historically great defenses, but they kind of had that feel. And to me, it's like you don't even care if your team turns the ball over. You just want to get back on the field.
Right.
We used to have a saying that, hey, look, whatever happens is just more TV time for us. And you can't wait to get on the field. And that's how that defense played. And they keep playing like that, nobody can beat them.
Very quickly, Dan, how about the quarterback play? Give us 30 seconds assessment. Taysom Hill, his performance, and what it means going forward.
Yeah, really, the destination was the same as when Drew Brees runs this offense. Just the journey looked different. They had the same results. It just looked very different. It wasn't the efficient operation, ball out all the time, but it was a little bit more of Taysom Hill moving in the pocket, some under center play action pass, pushing the ball downfield. So it looked different getting there, but at the end of the day, the results were the same. They scored points. They moved the football. And the reality was this, Greeny, all week the